Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Candid Savage. Today we're talking about personal training, and I have someone with me who I've known for, I'm going to say, probably 5 or 6 years.
Six.
His name is David. How long? Six?
Yeah, 6 or 7. It's been a while.
There we go. Long time. He's David Bateman in the house, who's certified from the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology, the Czech Institute CanFit Pro, and has other certification and knowledge, such as the Czech Institute Scientific Core and Conditioning. He's got a 3-year bachelor's degree in physiology from Wilfrid Laurier University. He's got a diploma from Loyalist College in fitness and health promotion. There's so many. If you go on his website, which is srottawa.com, which means the Strength Rehabilitation Institute, you can read everything there about David Bateman. What's up, Bateman?
I am very happy to be here. Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, I've been doing this for a little while. I guess it's 17 years now. So my laundry list of education just kind of keeps rolling along.
Yeah, you can tell by your certifications, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys have injuries or chronic injuries or just struggling with your body, look up David's stuff on the Strength Rehabilitation Institute website, and you can see everything that he offers here in Ottawa, as well as also some seminars too, if you're interested in having him out. He's very well educated and kind of like me, no bullshit.
Yeah, well, I try not to be.
So there's your plug, Dave.
I try to be bullshit free. That's important. No, my big mission is, because I've been doing this for so long, is helping people move without pain. So while I'm not a physiotherapist, I apply a lot of physiotherapy type principles, and I've been pretty successful over the years helping people with some pretty extreme situations, as you know. So I welcome any and all inquiries into, if you have a situation that you're kind of not sure about, feel free to just reach out and let me know, and I'm sure I can help. That's my plug for myself. There we go.
There you go. All plugging allowed here on the Candid Savage.
Excellent.
We're going to get into it. Dave and I, when we used to work together, we'd often shake our heads because we would see trainers doing things they probably shouldn't, or just bad business practice, really. And as we know, being in the personal training field, or health and fitness field, I should say, you're still your own business, even if you're working in a big box or a small box club or for another business. You are your own business at the end of the day. And we both find it super important that if you are a personal trainer, you treat your name as a business. Because at the end of the day, what people seeing you do and what you're putting out there will ultimately decide whether or not someone's going to work with you. So we're going to rhyme off some things that we find personal trainers do that they shouldn't, and also some tips on people looking for trainers, what they can look for, and some red flags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Number one thing that bothers me is when trainers consistently show up late for their training sessions or are always canceling on their training sessions. Bothers the shit out of me, because if you're showing up late for your client, it means that they are not a priority for you. If you're taking a 6 a.m. client and you can't show up till 6:30, you probably shouldn't be taking 6 a.m. clients.
Yeah,
what do you think about that, Dave?
I thoroughly agree. The big thing is, a lot of trainers don't realize that or maybe they don't care, that client is paying for your time. So, and in a lot of cases, I mean, personal training is not cheap. It's like you're paying over $1 a minute for that person's time. So, yeah. If that trainer shows up 5 minutes late for that hour-long session, do you think they're going to hand you $5? Probably not. But that's really valuable. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've no-showed on a client in the last 5 years. It's because I just feel like it's a sign that the trainer doesn't care enough about that person's time. So yeah, huge pet peeve for me, and something you should definitely watch out for if you're looking for a trainer.
Yeah, I mean, if you're someone, especially if you're on a weight loss journey, or say in your case, like someone that wants to feel better because they're broken, consistently showing up late doesn't really, one, it doesn't set a good tone, and two, if it's someone that's looking for what do you want to call it, like a positive reinforcement. I mean, if you're always showing up late for that client, they're not going to feel really good about themselves, and they're also not going to feel good about you either. So the trust also goes down, and it's it's a big thing, and I don't think a lot of trainers really understand that, especially again for those who are, really struggling mentally when they have a trainer that's consistently canceling on them week after week after week, or consistently showing up late and having all these excuses. That's a bad look. And to have them resign, like we know, like we're paid per session as personal trainers, right? So if you're consistently canceling, well, you're not being paid. And in terms of renewal, that client's not going to renew with you
No, why would
unless
they?
you can sabotage their brain to make them sign with you again. But
Well, we know trainers who have a reputation for doing that, right? But the big thing there is, like any other job, if you show up late all the time or you just don't show up at all, do you really, are you going to get fired? Probably, and you probably deserve it.
yeah,
If so, again, treating it like a job and a profession is really, really important, which is what a lot of people in our industry don't realize. So if I was late all the time or didn't show up, I would expect to get fired. So a lot of trainers need to realize that.
yeah, being punctual. And I have a rule in my clubs: if you're a trainer, you need to be in the club at least 15 minutes before the client. Like that's the cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to. The reason why I have that rule in place is that if you show up 15 minutes or longer before your client, you're able to set up everything. So you're able to get your programs out, you're able to go over the programs, you're able to go over previous notes if you have to change anything or adjust anything, getting equipment ready, checking equipment, all sorts of stuff, or even checking your message. Maybe your client's going to be late, but you're not rushed. We all know if you get into a session that's rushed, your session won't be as good as it should because your brain is still going in rush mode. So you end up missing things.
Yeah, and often we have maybe 2 hours, 3 hours out of a week with a person to try to facilitate a change, which isn't a heck of a lot. So every
Yeah.
minute is absolutely crucial in terms of, like you were saying about weight loss. That extra 5 or 10 minutes can mean X amount of calories to that person, and a little bit more education and a little more motivation, and that person's going to walk away feeling a lot better.
Yeah. And it's a therapy session. We all know we're also therapists at the end of the day.
I call it a bartender more than anything else, but
The
bartender without booze.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you're showing up late and they had a shitty day or they're going through depression and then their trainer shows up 10 minutes late. So it's like you no longer care for them either.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's go with one of the ones we've seen. I shake my head. I actually get pretty peeved when I see this. Being on your phone with your client during your session. That one ticks me off. I see trainers in various gyms on their phone texting whoever or picking up the phone while their client is doing an exercise and paying no attention to them and just telling them to do another set while staring at their phone.
Yeah, and for me, I've worked as a fitness manager before. That was absolutely not allowed, and it shouldn't be. It's completely unprofessional. And an interesting thing nowadays in the industry is that a lot of people are going to using their phones or a tablet to actually do their programming, which is fine. But then, as a trainer, you have to realize, okay, maybe that doesn't look 100% professional to the other people in the gym watching you, because they think you're texting or you're on your phone or something like that. So if I have to time a client session, I have a stopwatch. If I'm not walking around with a tablet, poking at it, trying to figure out what's going on, I have it all written out ahead of time. It's again, it's just a professionalism piece. And somebody who, again, is on their phone, that's completely disrespectful of that person's time, because one of my biggest pet peeves is being distracted at all during a session with your client. If you have somebody in front of you that's doing exercise, you're doing a tremendous thing to their body, and you really need to be able to monitor that and make sure you're coaching them constantly through that whole time so that they're not only safe, but they're also getting the best results they possibly can.
Yeah, and for me, it's a huge hazard. If you're on your phone or talking to someone during your client session, you're not paying attention to their form. They could be doing something completely wrong that's going to injure them. And I mean, put your phone away or the tablet thing.
Yep.
Like, fuck. Take your tablet, put it on the piece of equipment or put it on the floor. Put it somewhere where it's not in your hands when your client is doing their exercise.
Right.
Like, people are so addicted to their phones. That hour that you're with your client, leave your phone in your fucking locker.
Yep.
Don't bring it on the floor with you. I don't understand. And all my trainers know that rule. The only time you're allowed to have your phone with you is if you have some sort of family emergency. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, leave it in the room, leave it in your locker. Don't bring your phone with you. People can wait an hour or 50 minutes to hear the text or get the phone call. Just leave it alone. People are so addicted to their
Well,
phones.
again, when you're with that person, you need to be 100% focused on that person. That's my belief. So
Yeah,
if you're on your
dollar a
phone,
minute.
you're not. So, that client should look at that if anyone whips out their phone during a session and say, wow, does this person really value my time?
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's pretty disrespectful, in my opinion, of that client.
Absolutely. What's the point that you got there, Dave? Which one that you want to get off your
Well,
chest?
it's a similar one to what you were talking about with the phone, but my big one was being distracted during sessions. So,
Yeah.
okay, your client's working out, but you're chatting with somebody else, or you're, flirting with the, girl doing Romanian deadlifts in the squat rack or something like that. Or God forbid you look away while you're supposed to be spotting somebody because something distracts you. One of the biggest compliments I ever got was from a client was, I literally think a bomb could go off in this gym and you would not take your eyes off of me, because I think it's so important to really be coaching that person the entire time. So distractions can come from many different places, but really, as a trainer, you really need to be 100% focused on that person. And the great thing is that people will see that. You don't
Yeah.
realize that other people are watching you, especially if you work in a chain gym. I'm talking about people at like your Good Lifes and your Movatis in Ottawa, or say your 24-hour fitnesses. People are watching the way that you're interacting with your client, and you're going to be much more
Absolutely.
likely to get a referral or somebody walking up to the desk going, hey, I want to work with that guy or girl, because they are 100% focused on their client, and I see them bringing amazing value to them for that hour.
Mm-hmm. I think, and that's one thing when I was instructing with Camp Pro. That's one of the things I'd always tell the students is, hey, you have to be not only aware your surroundings in terms of safety, like barbells and dumbbells on the floor when you're with your client, but you have to be aware of the people watching you. It's just like a camera. People are cameras. They're watching what you're
Completely.
doing. They're probably, writing a Facebook post about it, or they're keeping it in their head, knowing like, hey, I want to be able to get a personal trainer. I love the way this trainer is training. I'm going to come see them, say in January when I get a bonus, and I'll put my bonus towards training. Or the flip side, this trainer is absolutely horrible, and there's no way I'm going to be paying $3,000 to train with them.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's absolutely important that if you're a trainer listening to this, take in this information and apply it to your practice and know that people are watching. And even though someone's not talking to you, so it could be someone in a distance who sees you, and even though you don't know their name, you don't know where they're coming from, you never talked to them before, know that that person is watching you. And that could be a potential client, or they could be at dinner talking to a friend and referring you and you don't even know it.
That's exactly it.
And better yet, you could also be that person that who's inspiring somebody. And that's a huge one. I've had a handful of people come up to me and say, I've watched you and your client train and you've inspired me and I've lost X amount of weight. Or watching what you guys have done and seeing the progression that you've had with your clients has allowed me to come in 4 times a week to get my workouts in. Even though I can't afford a trainer, you're a huge inspiration. Like, I don't, as trainers, we don't often hear these things because people just don't talk. But at the end of the day, some people will come up to you and tell you how much of an inspiration you are, or how much of a motivator you are. You have to be aware that these things happen.
Yeah. I remember when, actually, when we moved to the chain gym that we worked at together, and there were frequent times where I would be finished a session with a client and somebody else would come up to me and say, hey, I saw you doing X or Y with this person. Can you help me out with that? Because I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
interesting or different, or what are you doing? And again, it's just a piece where you get a chance to help that other person. And they're never
Yeah.
going to think about working with anybody else, if they ever have a chance or the resources to be able to afford a trainer. So
Mm-hmm.
from a personal trainer's perspective, that is invaluable. So being distracted, it's not on. It's bad form. I just consider it completely unprofessional, and quite frankly, it's bullshit.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree with you more. All right, this is a big one. The next point I'm going to bring up is one that, well, all these ones drive me crazy, but this one really drives me crazy. And it's trainers with no knowledge or education over supplementing their clients. Fuck, this one just irks me. We have a lot of new trainers coming into the industry. We also have seasoned ones that have absolutely no knowledge in supplementation. And they have this client that comes in for weight loss or for whatever. And within the first couple sessions, they're prescribing them protein powders and fat loss pills and all these other like glutamines and ZMA and all these things for their client because that's what some guy on YouTube said.
Or, God forbid, they actually sell the supplements themselves, so they get a cut of the money. Imagine that.
Oh, good one. Yeah. Well, MLMers too. That's a big one.
Yes.
And there's a lot of trainers who will go into MLMs to make extra coin because we all know if you're in the training industry, you're not doing it to make a shitload of money. No. You're doing it because you're passionate about it.
That's it.
And I mean, there are trainers that'll try new things and whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're a trainer out there that doesn't have any actual concrete knowledge about supplementation, you should not be prescribing supplementation because one, you legally can't. And two, it could be hazardous. You don't know. Like, what if that client is taking medication for something that you do not know about because they do not want to disclose it? And then you tell them to take a vitamin D, and that vitamin D doesn't go along with that medication, or maybe the other supplement they didn't tell you that they're taking, and all of a sudden they get sick. You have to be knowledgeable in the area of supplementation in order to start prescribing stuff. You have to be very careful. That's why we have referrals. Like, I know you've got some, I've got some.
Completely.
For myself, I have chiropractors, I have nutritionists, I have naturopaths, I have physios, doctors within my circle, so that if I have someone that has an issue, I'm not going to tell them like, oh, you can't sleep? Take melatonin or take magnesium or take a sleeping pill. I'm not going to tell them that. I'm going to tell them to go to the appropriate practitioner to get their levels tested and see what they can do for them.
And that all falls under the heading of scope of practice. I find a lot of trainers go way outside of their scope of practice, which is providing exercise prescriptions for people in a responsible manner, really, when it comes down to it. So it's funny because 17 years ago, my first ever certification was actually as a nutrition and wellness specialist with CanFit Pro. But I tell people all the time, while I'm a quote nutritionist, and I'm making the air quotes right now with my fingers, I am by no means a registered dietitian. I am by no means a registered holistic nutritionist. So I have no right to tell you what to do. So if you're really interested in that, go see this person because they have the right credentials and they make money doing that. So if you're really that into it, here you go. My job is to make you stronger, period. So again, scope of practice, a lot of trainers tend to jump outside of that. And I think it's again, a bit of a pet peeve of mine because they'll try to be the whole person, the whole wellness coordinator, when what that person more often than not needs is a team of people.
Yeah.
I tell people I can't affect your joints. That's what a chiropractor or physiotherapist will do, or a good orthopedic surgeon. I can affect your muscles and maybe your tendons, your ligaments, but that's about it. So if you want something else, including nutrition, go see somebody else.
Yep. And I think with being a trainer, I mean, people are coming to us to get better, feel better, and we can guide them. And that's the one big word that I use to people is guide them in the best direction that we can. So whether it's obvious ones like, hey, Bill, you're drinking 2 liters of Coke a day. Maybe you should just go down to 1 to start and do the other 1 with water.
Right.
Like stuff like that's a no-brainer. It's common sense that we can help with. But when it comes to like, people with legit issues, you got to outsource. You got to go to your network and refer them out. Like, I just don't understand why. I don't know if it's trainers just want to, they're afraid that their client's going to leave them to go somewhere else. But it's a huge problem. And I think as a trainer, even though if you are certified in nutrition and you're hitting roadblocks, like do not be afraid to refer out. you'll actually look better, in my opinion, by referring out to a practitioner who's qualified than trying to do it yourself, and then either they're going to get hurt or sick, and then you're just going to look like a dummy.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And that's what you don't want is, again, going outside of your scope of practice and saying something that may cause that person harm, to be honest with you. The well-being of that person should be 100% your priority. So,
Mm-hmm.
giving somebody even just simple recommendations, while that is really easy, there's always the suggestion that, hey, go get that double checked and verified. And
Yeah.
the other side of that is, I think a big thing trainers don't realize is that your big piece is to educate your client, right? You want to be a teacher as well as a coach and a motivator and a bartender and, 50 million other things that you have to do. So educating them on where to go to find those resources is really important too, not just sending them to like Mercola.com and having them read a bunch of garbage. So not to bring up a name, but hey, I'm hoping I don't get sued now, but whatever.
I think this is also a perfect segue into the next point,
Yep.
which is people are probably going to get shit on, but I don't care because it's a problem. Is people doing fitness competitions that have never really been in a gym before. They do a fitness competition with a coach, and then they get off the stage and they certify themselves as a trainer and nutritionist. Drives me fucking nuts.
I call them Instagram trainers because they sell the programs that their coach gave them for $9.99 a month, and and make money that way. Yeah.
That original trainer should be getting
Absolutely.
like 10%.
Absolutely. And it happens all the time. So I've been a judge with the Ontario Physique Association now for 7 years. I've done 2 fitness competitions myself, so I know how hard it is to step on stage and take your clothes off in front of people. It's ridiculously difficult. And even with 17 years of training experience, 2 comps, and 7 years of judging experience, I tell people all the time, I am by no means qualified to take you to a show, nor do I want to be quite honest.
Yeah.
So here's a list of 3 other coaches I know around the city who are really good at this and can back it up because they've been on a national level stage or they're professionals at it. Mm-hmm. So really, again, it's buyer beware. If you're paying $10 a month for a program, what do you expect? Or if you haven't researched the person properly and you think, oh, wow, they look really good, I should hire them. No, vet your trader, people. It's a real big pet peeve of mine that people don't do, that people don't look at who they're hiring through a critical lens. And yes, it happens constantly. There's always a flood of new trainers on the market when the show season ends. And, you have somebody that placed, oh my God, I placed second out of 2 people. But they don't tell you that. I took second place as a light heavyweight bodybuilder and in a show that had 2 competitors. And people don't know that. They take it at face value. Yeah, well, it's really good for marketing. It's terrible for the potential client. So
you just use like the perfect word right there, marketing.
Yeah.
It's all marketing. Yes. A lot of it's bullshit marketing, but marketing, the photos you see, half the time they're photoshopped. Yep. You don't know that they were eating spinach and chicken for 2 weeks and could barely walk or had muscle cramps on the stage. And this false image that being shredded is this form of healthy. It's not. And we know this because we know people and we're friends with people who do competitions. And that the last 4 weeks is just shit.
Oh, it's hard work and it takes a ton of motivation.
Yeah.
But it's also something that you really need to be guided properly through because...
Yeah, with a proper coach. Yes. Like you shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't be like dying the last 4 weeks. If you have a proper coach, you're not going to be dying. You're going to walk on stage with some energy.
That's it. And you're going to look fantastic and feel fantastic, which is really on that day when you've invested that much time, money, and effort into stepping on a stage. That's really what you should be doing, is stepping on stage feeling like $100 or $1 million, I guess. I'm being cheap. But, making sure that your coach will take you out of that show in a responsible manner, because oftentimes
post-comp is super important. And I think that's where some of these, as you call them, Instagram trainers fuck up on, is the post show. And we often see people balloon because they either go ape shit on food or their hormones are just fucked. and their body it's not absorbing like it should. They
Hmm.
start ballooning. I mean, if you're going to hire a coach for a competition, you want someone who's got results. And like Chris in Montreal, you can see it in his competitors and the trophies they win. He knows what he's doing. And same with post comp.
Yeah. The coach should
You
take
have other
you from the
people.
start all the way through the finish. And the finish is not when you step off the stage at the end of the show. It's a few weeks
Yeah,
afterwards when your body's getting, quote, back to normal, because your body does go through
yeah,
a ton of hormonal and physical stress when you're dieting down for a competition. So
yeah,
again, buyer beware, you get what you pay for.
yeah. So if you're looking for a trainer, or if you are a person who's doing fitness competitions and recycling programs, stop it. It's a bad look on the industry. It's a bad look on yourself, and you're putting people who actually have the passion and take the time to either go to school, take certifications. You make them look bad. And the other thing I want to mention is certifications. A lot of the times, these online trainers, they're not even
No,
certified. Like,
they're certified in
boggles
looking
my
good on
mind. And I
Instagram.
take that seriously. When I teach, I make sure when people are done the course, like they pass all their exams. But at the end of the course, I always ask them, I'm like, okay, do you guys now see why you should be certified in the area of personal training and why you should take a course? And all of them are cross-eyed by that day because they're taking in so much information. But they're like, holy shit, like, yeah, like I don't understand why people are trying to train people that aren't certified, that people can get hurt. I'm like, exactly. So if you're looking for a trainer, you found them on Instagram, or you found them, I don't know, on Facebook or something, just because they look good, you need to vet them. You need to make sure they know what they're doing. And other thing too, hate to break it to a lot of people, but a lot of the times these big people on Instagram and Facebook, if they have a lot of followers, a lot of times they buy them. And it's not because they're talent, it's because they spent $50 to buy 5,000 followers or more.
Yeah.
Just gonna put that out there. You just have to be really careful about who you're hiring. And if you are someone who's recycling programs, please cut it out, get certified, get knowledgeable, and then come back into the game with a better head on your shoulders.
Well, the competition thing is a big part of our industry, but at the end of the day, really, what you should be looking for is to be as healthy as possible. And if that's a goal, just like anything else is a goal, running a marathon is a goal, climbing a mountain is a goal. If a goal is
Yeah.
for you to get in the best shape possible so that you can feel good about your body enough to strap on a bikini and walk out in front of 1,000 people, awesome, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to understand that that is going to, it's going to be a lot of work, and there's a lot of time and effort and dedication put behind that. So you
Mhm.
need to have the proper guidance towards that, just like any other goal you might have.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I have a ton of respect for people that get on stage because I see them train. I see what they have to do to get there. And I have a huge respect for it. I just want to make sure that people doing it are doing it correctly so that afterwards, like you were saying, post comp, that they're healthy and they're not having to go to their doctor to get some issues resolved.
Mhm.
So again, finding that coach that has the knowledge, and you can all interview them and see what they can do post comp as well. So again, just to put it out there, I do respect those who do these competitions, especially when they do it right. I just want to make sure, people out there that are coaching know that you're taking someone's health into consideration, and when you're recycling programs, know that you could be, hurting that individual.
And the other side of that, again, speaking to the trainers that might be listening, is as a trainer, don't be afraid to say, you know what, I'm not the best person for that. If somebody comes to me and
Yeah.
says, I want to compete for, whatever, I want to do a bikini show or an IFBB, bodybuilding competition, I send them away because you know what, at the end of the day, I am not the best person for them to use for that resource. Same as if,
Yeah.
somebody wanted to, while I deal with a lot of powerlifters, programming specifically for powerlifting is not my bag. I do rehab.
Mhm.
So I'm not afraid to say to somebody, listen, I can help you with a certain part of that, but here's a much better person to go to for those resources.
Yeah.
As a trainer, you're going to garner a lot more respect that way by saying, listen, this is outside of my scope of practice. You don't take the person on and then try to learn as you're dealing with that person. Have the stuff under your belt
Yeah.
first. That's really, really important for you trainers. So,
What other point do you have over there, Bateman?
well, so again, this sort of falls under the heading a little bit of what we just talked about, but it's personal trainers getting into the business for the wrong reasons and thinking,
Yeah.
the big thing is I hear a lot of, we've both dealt with a lot of brand new trainers and they think, okay, I'm going to jump right out of the gate. I'm going to be training, high level bodybuilders. I'm going to be training athletes. I'm going to be training celebrities, stuff like that. Here's a clue. No, you're not, first of all. Because those people have way better trainers than you are. You have no experience. You have no credentials. You have you have nothing under your belt in terms of results. So you are going to be, and 98% of trainers out there deal with Susie Q or Sammy Q housewife or house husband who just wants to be healthier, maybe lose a little bit of weight, maybe get a little bit stronger, and find something inside themselves that makes them want to be a healthy, better person and more vital. So wrap your head around that before you even get into the industry, that those are the people that you're going to be helping 95% of the time. I can tell you that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing too is like, don't come into the industry, like I said earlier, thinking you're going to make a shitload of money. You're like, a lot of us that are in this industry do it because we love it. We love the passion. We love everything about helping people and motivating people, transforming people to feel better and look better, think better. You don't come in here thinking we're going to make six figures our first year. And if you're coming into this industry because you just like to do bicep curls, you need to know that this is a very serious industry. You're going to be taking people that you've never met. They have clinical depression. They have eating disorders they've been battling with for 20 years. They've had or been in an abusive home, or they don't have a social circle. Like, these are people that you will get, and you have to know how to handle it. And it's not always going to be about, getting swole. It's going to be about helping that individual. And we all know that we all say one of our certifications is, being a homegrown therapist. But it's because a lot of the time that's what you end up running into. So if you're new into this industry, know that this is going to happen. And, take CECs, so continuing education credits. Every year, go take a course, whether it's, coaching course for lifestyle, whether it's nutrition, training, different kinds of methodologies. Like, again, looking at, just go on David Bateman's website there. You'll see that he has a bunch of different types of certifications, which is great because then you have, your eggs in different baskets and you're able to kind of create and mold your own way of training.
That's it.
Which, again, you want to be yourself. You want to create your own type of marketing as well. You don't want to market yourself like other people. You don't want to be like every other trainer. You want to find a niche and take that niche over.
Yeah, what you just said is so key. And I'll just jump in to say that as a trainer, if you want to train pro athletes, awesome, go for it. If you want to train bodybuilders, whatever, go for it. Work your education and your knowledge towards those niches. Like, my niche is physical rehab. I've been doing that for 15 years. And that's what I apply all my knowledge towards, because at the end of the day, that's what, that's my bag. That's what motivates me to go to the gym at 5 o'clock every morning and train my clients. And I always said to myself when I had my, quarter life crisis 18 years ago, what would I do for free that people might pay me for? Well, this is it. I love seeing the improvement in people. I love helping people with, situations that they didn't believe anything could help, and helping them. So if you want to do athletes, certified strength and conditioning specialist, go for it. And then work towards that niche. The niche thing is so vital for trainers starting out in the business. If you can get yourself in there as soon as you can, then your business is going to be that much better off. And you're not going to mind going to work every day.
Yeah. I think some of the stuff too, like going over kind of the points that we've talked about, is really, like, if you're someone who's struggling right now in the training field, or someone that's stuck, or someone that's new, you want to make sure, like, simple things like showing up on time, like being punctual for your client. That's probably one of the easiest things that you need to do.
Completely.
Is show up.
Yep.
Put it in your calendar and show up. That's the first one. Making sure that when you're with your client, like we've been talking about, the session is for them. It's not for your phone. It's not for you to check out the girl on the squat rack or the guy on the squat rack. It's you're fully involved with your client. So when they mess up, you fix it. Or if they're going to get injured, you stop them before they get injured. And taking the time, this is a big one for me anyway, is taking the time to actually, on your day off, I know it's crazy, on your day off, making a proper program for your clients instead of thinking about what you're going to do with them 5 minutes before the session starts. Mm-hmm. So creating a proper program, periodization, if you don't know what that is, start reading about it, and make the proper program for your clients so you can get the best results possible, and just being confident. And I could go into the social media thing too, but I think we're just going to have like a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah, we'd be beating a dead horse at that point. But and by the way, to all the trainers out there, if you don't know what periodization is yet, quit your job. Because just to be blunt about that, because it's a pretty fundamental thing. Not having structure in a session is one thing, but also, I mean, I've run into trainers that, their client will walk in and be starting their session out and be like, oh, you know what, I was raking this weekend and my shoulder hurts, so we should probably. But the trainer had an upper body workout planned, and they can't think on their feet. Hey, can I transfer over into something different, or can I think on the fly and modify the workout that I've already created in order to accommodate the needs of that person? Huge thing for a lot of trainers and a lot of clients out there. If your trainer can't do that, then again, you might want to question your choice, because it means that they can't they don't have enough knowledge to think outside the box and modify things as they go. I often have clients walk in and tell me something, and I put a big, massive X right over their program. And I'm like, all right, I guess we're doing something different today, which is fine. That's part of my job, is to make sure that client walks out of that gym feeling 100% better than when they walked in, not, driven into the ground or more in pain or anything like that.
I think for newbies too, if there's new people listening to this, is like, we're not discouraging new people from training, and we're not saying you're new people, or like everyone starts somewhere.
Absolutely.
What I think both of us, I know for myself, I'll speak for myself on this one maybe, is you're still learning. So go with the trainers that you see and be like, hey, can I shadow you? And I did that when I started. I remember I went up to Bateman when I started at that big box club. I went up to 3 other people and I said, hey, I thought what you're doing with that client was really interesting. Can I shadow you for your next session? And that doesn't make you less of a trainer, in my opinion. Maybe not because I did it, but in my opinion, it makes you a better trainer because you're looking to learn. You're looking to see what's out there. But at the same time, if, like David was saying, you're in the session, the person comes in complaining of a shoulder injury because they raked too long, and that day was the upper body, you want to be able to swing the program with a snap of a finger to be like, no problem, we'll do this today. And like, there's a lot of trainers that don't know how to do that. So get out there, shadow other people, research stuff, pick up a book, listen to a podcast, something. Just put yourself out there and start learning so that you're not stuck. And then, your trainer's like, well, what the fuck are we going to do today? I don't know. So if you're new and you're listening to this, keep learning.
Yeah, I used to work with a trainer who, it would drive me nuts because I would hear them say regularly, their clients would walk up to the desk and say, what do you, and the trainer would say, what do you want to work on today? And I'm looking at them going, I thought that was your job. It absolutely staggered me that the client did not recognize that and go, oh, well, didn't you have that plan? Because you probably should. But anyway, just a bit of again, huge pet peeve of mine. But to
periodization.
Periodization. Again, if you don't know what it is, look it up. And if you're a trainer, definitely look it up. It's really, really important. So that, again, it falls under the heading of the big thing I see in this industry. And I mean, personal trainer has 0 barrier to entry. You can take a weekend course and call yourself a trainer, or not have taken a course at all. But for trainers to realize that if you're listening to this, you need to treat this like a business. There's a marketing aspect, there's a sales aspect, there is a professionalism aspect. It is huge if you want to be successful long term at this. And I'm speaking as a guy that's been in this industry for 17 years. I've rebuilt my business 3 times in 2 different cities successfully, and now I run an institute. So you need to treat it like a business, because that's exactly what it is. Just like anything else in life, if you want to be successful at it, you really need to treat it as if it's cover all the aspects of it, and really treat it like it's a business and be all in on every aspect of it.
You made a point about not being certified and working in a gym. Now, that's the other thing. People listening that aren't trainers or looking for a trainer, or just listening to the podcast, whatever. When you go to a gym, please ask the trainer if they're certified and from where. If it's not a nationally recognized certification in North America, you should probably look somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because there's too many businesses or people saying they have certifications when they're shit. They're not quality courses. And like, I could go off and name 2 right now, right off the top of my head, but I'm just not going to. You have to be very careful about who you're hiring. And just because their picture is on a wall doesn't mean they're certified. And it drives me crazy. It actually makes me angry because I see people with a trainer shirt on training an individual incorrectly, knowing they're not certified or certified through, a national body. So those listening that are looking for trainers, please ask, where did you get your certification from? What college did you go to? That kind of thing. And there's too many. What people don't know too is these people who are in these gyms training people, they're making probably $14 an hour, and you're paying $65, $70, $80 an hour. These people are not even certified to take you on, but they're training you making $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Not only is it disgraceful that this person's training you, maybe they just don't know any better, but it's bullshit from these companies allowing this to happen.
Yeah. My funniest story about that is when I first moved to the city of Ottawa, I applied to work at a big box gym that a lot of people would be familiar with. But the first meeting that we had with all the personal trainers in the room, there was 25 people in that room. And I was the only one that had ever personal trained somebody before. And probably 14 of the 25 had clients in the first few couple of months, and they were not certified as trainers, but they were paying the same amount that anyone would pay for a personal trainer, which was $60 to $70 an hour. And I think that's awful personally, but it's the way the industry works. So again, buyer beware, people. Vet your trainers carefully. There are really, really good trainers out there in any city, fantastic ones, way better than me. And all you have to do is vet them properly, keep an eye out, watch them, look for referrals, make sure, you see them with their clients, or you get a good sense that they know what they're doing and they're progressing people properly. So important. If you're going to hire a trainer at a chain gym, do not accept the person the fitness manager just hands you. Do your own research, watch people on the floor. Make sure that you get the trainer that you want, because odds are that fitness manager, and again, not a slam on the gym industry, but that fitness manager is trying to get a trainer that's new busy. So they may not have the experience and the knowledge that you need. Just buyer beware. Huge.
Yep. I think we could actually probably do a whole other episode on buyer beware. And it sucks because it's not like we're shitting on our own industry that we're in. It's just in any industry, there's shit.
It is. Yeah, it is what it is.
And so we just want to make everyone aware that, interview your trainers that you go to, make sure the spot that you're going to suits what you want. If you're a new trainer, continue to learn. It's okay to ask questions. Make sure that if you're a trainer listening to this, you treat your personal training career as a business, and you do everything that you can as a business owner would do, like treat people with respect. I'm going to say it again. Show up on time.
I can tell that's a sore point for you.
Fuck! Drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I have it in my employment contracts with the trainers.
Completely.
15 minutes.
Yep.
Show up 15 minutes before your client. And I mean, obviously that's different too. If they're having back-to-back clients, they might, be right to the hour sometimes. But in terms of showing up for your first client, show up on time.
Yeah.
I could have a whole podcast just on time.
Exactly.
It drives me crazy. But any last words from Mr. David Bateman? Where can they find you?
Well, you can find me, as Ashley said at the beginning of the podcast, which was a while ago, www.srottawa.com. My website is there with all of my information. Again, my mission is to help people that have, unusual or, extreme conditions with injuries to be able to move without pain and provide solutions for them. So the reason I started my business is that if you have been to a physio or a chiro or, some other modality and not had any results, I kind of bridge the gap in between that therapy and getting back into the gym or back into your physical endeavors, whatever that may be. So go ahead, see another practitioner, get everything sorted, and then come and see me if you want to get stronger and make sure the injury doesn't happen again. That is my whole mission in life. It is what I do every day, and I had been for 17 years. So that's really, really important. You can find me on social, Strength Institute or Strength Rehabilitation Institute of Ottawa and Strength Rehab Ottawa on Instagram. Feel free to give me a follow. Right now I'm doing my year of yoga. So I am I am 8 days into doing a 365-day continuous yoga practice. So I'll be doing yoga every day. You can follow along with me to do that because my body needs it pretty badly. So if you follow me along, that'll be a little bit interesting. And feel free to reach out if you have questions about anything physical rehab related. If you've had surgery, if you've had, I could name a laundry list of conditions I've dealt with over the years. Feel free to just reach out. I'm happy to provide information or resources for you.
Awesome. And I'll also back up Dave here because I've referred people to Dave mainly because they've been broken as shit. And I don't want to take that on. Again, scope of practice. Exactly. So I've referred people to Dave and he's worked his wonders. I've also, again, we've trained together. So I've seen people come in who could barely walk and within no time, they're walking and like nothing's ever happened. Or they couldn't even pick up a 5-pound dumbbell off the floor. And here they are months later doing rack pulls or something. So do look up Dave on Instagram, and I'll also put all of his information on this podcast. So when you click on it, all the info is there.
Well, thank you very much.
So I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Ashley. I really appreciate it. I hope we can get together again. And really happy to be here and be able to share some knowledge with people. Again, people, when you're looking for a trainer, or if you are a trainer, there's lots of resources available to you. People like Ashley and myself, we want to help people get better. That's really the fundamental thing. So when you need that information, just keep listening and reach out if you need any sort of resources.
All right, people, we're going to go start our days because we're doing this podcast in the morning. So we're going to go start our days now.
Exactly.
Appreciate you guys liking, commenting, and sharing this podcast with people that you think would want to hear it or people that you think need to be educated. So tune in next time for our next podcast. Different topic every week. If you have a topic that you want us to share on The Candid Savage, please write in, let us know, and we will do something up for you. On that note, we're going to go and get some shit done. Hope everyone has a good day.
Thanks, everyone.